Joe Burrow looking for a bounce-back year after appearing in only 10 games. Now, after the following quote, he may appear on the bulletin board. Stay tuned.
Oh.
He joined a to-be-released New Heights podcast, okay? So this is from Kelsey's podcast, but we weren't able to get the sound, but this was released early. We both work really hard, him and Mahomes, at what we do. They've got great players, the Chiefs, and we've got great players, the Bengals. I think we, the Bengals, match up pretty well with them. We're kind of built to beat them. Uh-oh.
He said that to Jason?
We don't quite know. I said, Hubs, can we have the sound? And he said, no, it's on the New Heights podcast, but that's soon to be released.
Right, so it was like
Right, I get it.
was just
But
like
he was talking like he wasn't talking to Travis.
It sounds like
We're
that,
not
but it
quite
doesn't
sure.
matter.
Well, it kind of
was
matters.
said.
Well,
it was said.
He was saying that
Never.
the tone.
Maybe, yeah, the tone
Never
does,
has-
The tone matters.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you know what? We're doing the topic anyway.
probably
I'm
a
sorry to
soft
do this
tone.
because
Yeah, it's probably
Dusty,
nice.
the board, and I want America to
Really?
look closely at last year's board. And you'll see a lot of Joe Burrow's coworkers. You won't see Joe Burrow, who was smart enough to stay out of the morass of this. But now we have next year's board, which is not quite as populated but growing bigger by the day. Dusty, flip the board, please. And look who's right there. Built to beat them. Never has one fluke of one half of one playoff game gotten more run. Okay, but since that one playoff game, Wilds, the Chiefs have won 2 Super Bowls and the Bengals have won 2 playoff games. And by the way, it maybe building your team to beat the Chiefs so you can win in overtime and Mahomes has one bad half of football of his damn life.
Chill out on the overtime stuff. He just won the Super Bowl in overtime against Brock Purdy, and Brock Purdy can't get any credit.
Okay, well, Brock Purdy, can we please have a football
Well, just saying you're like
discussion
dissing
without it being about
overtime
Brock
now.
Purdy?
You're dissing overtime.
No, I'm dissing a game from 2.5 years ago that has been the calling card of this team's franchise since Boomer Esiason
They are
left.
3-1.
I mean, can I show you a graphic? I pulled up a graphic.
Okay.
Do you think it's fair to say Patrick Mahomes has Lamar Jackson's number? I do. He's 4-1 against him. Or Phillip Rivers? I do. He's 3-1 against him. Well, Joe Burrow is 3-1 against Mahomes. So if anything, he's allowed to say we're built to beat them because he literally does.
Well, then let me ask this question.
And don't bring up like, well, the Chiefs can beat the Bills. He's not talking about beating the Bills.
Okay,
Chiefs can beat the 49ers.
But the last 2 times these teams have played, the Chiefs have won. So so if you're built to beat them, you maybe should beat them more than that one time in overtime 2 years ago. But more importantly is this question I have for you, Brew. Let's assume this quote is true. Okay?
Wow.
Let's just assume it's true.
I assume.
Is it maybe a mistake? Is maybe building your team to beat the Chiefs why, since Burrow's gotten there, you're 9-15 in your own division? Maybe worry about your own backyard first before you start glazing over at the neighbors. What do you mean he's hurt?
He was hurt.
What? Last year, when he was the year before last, when he was fully healthy, they were 3-3.
He or the
Bengals are 9-15.
He was good for 6 games last year.
Okay, so
Jake Browning was,
right. Jake Browning came in there dealing.
Dusty, put Jake Browning on the board because Joe Burrow doesn't belong on the board.
Was Joe Burrow there week 1 when they lost? I'm sorry, I don't remember. Was they? You guys tell me, because he was.
He was there in physical presence, but the real Joe Burrow wasn't there.
Okay.
He had a bad calf. He couldn't throw the ball more than 20 yards down the field, air yards.
Go ahead, Brew.
No, I got to be honest. I'm a bit baffled as to why Joe would say this.
Thank you.
The trash talking Wilds, I get it. It hasn't worked out. The Burrow head, all that stuff, it didn't work out.
It's 3-1.
Burrow should concentrate on staying healthy. All right? 2 of his 4 years, injuries have really been a problem. And to come out and start talking, and I like it. It's his personality, all that, the swagger. But come on.
All right, so how about
he needs to concentrate on being healthy, not talking trash.
I don't know if talking trash. If he was talking trash, juggling, chainsaws. He was just talking. He was on the Kelsey's podcast.
Yeah. Talking mess.
He's 3-1.
Okay.
When can you talk trash? You're 3-1.
Here's when.
What do you got to do?
Wilds, here's when. I'll tell you exactly when. when the last time you played, when you had a chance to go to the Super Bowl, when you were the favorite, when the other quarterback was injured, you had the ball multiple times to go win the game, and you threw a fourth quarter pick, and then it went 5 and out, and you punted and you lost. In the playoffs to go to the Super Bowl, when that's the last result that you were involved in, you don't get to talk. When you have to go back to when Jimmy Garoppolo was still the quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers to find the last time you beat this team, and since then they have held up the trophy both years, you don't get to talk. And Joe, to his credit, understood that last year, but now the memory of that stinging defeat at Burrowhead Stadium has faded evidently.
You know what? After this discussion, I got another suggestion for the board.
What?
Wild.
This guy Wild?
Guys, we have to tell the truth on the show. The guy's 3-1.
0-1 in the last 2 years.
Who cares?
He's
He's 3-1 in his career.
And they lost.
He's 3-1. He's 3-1. There's no debate.
Put Wilds on the board.
Put me on the board. Afternoon headline sponsored by Ram Trucks Built
Check
to
the
Serve.
comments on the pod with JJ.
Mahomes named one of Time's most influential people of the year. In a wide-ranging article, Mahomes talks about the longevity needed to be considered an all-time great, but does note he's off to a pretty good start. Quote, he's now entrenched in the GOAT conversation. Brady won his 3rd Super Bowl MVP when he was 37 years old. We start counting MVPs now, I guess. Montana was 33. Mahomes just 28. I've had at least one of the top 3 starts to a career, says Mahomes. I'll put it that way. Solid. Your reaction, Nick?
Well, it's unquestioned the best first 7 years of any NFL player ever. And when I say 7, that includes the year he didn't play at all, because it'd just be fair to everybody. And so it's not top 3 start to a career. It's even better than Brady's start to a career, because they are equal in in Super Bowl wins.
But he's the force.
Right, he's got the MVPs. He also has another appearance. But the other thing that separates him, and we'll see how long he can keep this going, is unlike any of the other all-time greats, never a stumble. Never a down year. Never missed the playoffs. Never for Peyton Manning, playoffs. Aaron Rodgers, first year as a starter. Brady, second year as a starter. All those guys, Montana had it, none of it. And so we've never seen him bad. In fact, in his worst year he ever had, he won the Super Bowl anyway and was great the entire postseason. So he's 28. He'll be 28 when next season starts. So I think he's going to have his 4th Super Bowl before he turns 30. Could he have 5 before he's 32? If he's 28 now? Is that a reasonable, it's not unreasonable.
A whole new standard.
Right.
Put it this way, quick, and I'll be quick so you can finish. I can't even fathom him going a decade without winning a Super Bowl. And that's not a shot at Brady, but I'm just saying. Can you even fathom that?
And I know some people would have said, well, we couldn't fathom that with Aaron, right? And Aaron went more than that. But the difference
he's already proven.
Right, he's already proven that the moment will never be too big for him. He's proven he can play through injury. Yeah. Obviously, because it's football, devastating injury can throw things off. And he is miles better than Brady was as a player at this point of his career. And so I don't think a drought is coming. And no matter what my pal Mike Florio tries to stoke to the media, Andy Reid's not going anywhere anytime soon. And so for all those reasons, Patrick is being humble, and I appreciate that. He's had the best start to a career ever. And I think right now in Vegas, if you set the, odds, what does he finish his career at Super Bowl-wise, what do they set it at? 5.5? They said at 5.5, I would hammer the over. Yeah. They said it at 6.5. It's a hard bet, but it's not that.
You're going to run into some bad luck, though. You're going to get the.
But I feel 6 is a really good number. He'll win 6 Super Bowls. That's a good number.
But go ahead.
So when Josh Allen talks about the Super Bowl, we're pump the brakes. Even when Joe Burrow starts flirting with the Super Bowl, we say pump the brakes. And Mahomes is always very careful to keep the moment right in front of him. But he was talking about how his wife sent him home at 4:30 a.m. because they had to go to Disneyland the next day. And then there was my favorite sentence.
Oh, yes. Article. Oh, I saw this too.
Next year's Super Bowl, Mahomes points out, is in New Orleans. Quote, So it'd be Disney World if we go again. So he's already planning. Like, it's a short flight to Disney World once we win again. Also on Fox. Hey.
But also because he's been if the Super Bowl's West Coast, you go to Disneyland. If the Super Bowl's East Coast, you go to Disney World. And I don't think people should look at it, Wilds, as 6.5. They should look at it as 3.5. Like, will Patrick Mahomes get to 7 Super Bowls? It's will he get 4 more?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Will Patrick Mahomes, who's 28 years old and has been in the Final Four every year of his career and been in the Final 2.
The Kelsey factor, I got to see him without Kelsey. We've never seen it. And Kelsey does seem locked in, don't get me wrong. But I got to see him without Kelsey.
But the other question is, how good is this defense going to continue to be?
True.
Right.
And could he get either a Peyton Manning's last Super Bowl or Tom Brady's first Super Bowl one day?
That was this Super Bowl.
Except he was amazing the whole
He played
playoff.
well, but the defense,
but I'm saying where he's not playing well and they win despite it.